So, can you record a podcast episode sat in your car in the B&M car park? Let's find out. I have 20 minutes before my next client and they're 5 minutes away. So this is going to have to be a one-take mess of a oodly doodly Ben speaks. You know what I mean. Well, let's go for it. So, I wanted to talk about something that I see really regularly in coaching. In fact, I've taken on a few new clients recently who are all in the same position. And I was in that position 10 years ago. And it's the trap that comes with running your own business when you are completely boxed in by it. You are physically trapped, so you feel like you have to be there every day. If there's an office, you have to be in it. If there's a shop, you have to be there, and you feel like you can't step away from that. But you're also emotionally trapped, so you're carrying the weight of every decision. You're carrying, if you've got staff, the weight of those salaries every month of the year, which feels really different to just being responsible for your own life and salary, which is big on its own. And then you're mentally trapped as well because your brain never switches off. You get home at 5 o'clock, you're not finished work, you're still thinking about it at 10, and you might even be waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and still thinking about it. So when people think of owning a business, they think of freedom. The dream is the freedom to live and run your own life and create the life you want, isn't it? But actually, it can feel like a complete cage sometimes. It can feel like absolutely the opposite of the reason why you started it all in the first place. And it is possible to change that. I think that's the important message for this 10 minutes. It does not have to feel like that. And although it might not feel like it right now, there is a way out. There's always a way out, and we can always make choices that change things. So often, whether it's me or the people I'm working with, we know what the goal is. We know that the goal is a business that runs without us being there 24/7. We don't want to walk away. We don't want to give it up. We don't want to get a job. We'll probably feel completely unemployable if we're honest. We know the destination. We can imagine the future state we want. It's a business that runs without us having to be involved in every decision, without us feeling like we're responsible for everything, like it wouldn't run if we were not there. We can't take 2 weeks on holiday and switch our emails off because we panic about what would happen when we came back. So we know the destination. What gets in the way? First of all, fear. Fear holds us back. We think if I step back, standards might slip, things might start to go wrong, I'm going to have more problems to deal with. It feels really precarious because we're the one holding it all steady. And the fear is rational because it might be based on evidence. You might have had feedback that actually, well, if that member of staff does something, it's not been as good, or that's led to complaints, or people have said, oh, we really wish you were there, or, we really wish you were doing the job. The second thing is time. So if we're in that position, so busy and deep in the business, there's actually not a second to think about anything. There's no time to even think about what we're going to have for tea, let alone how we're going to recreate a strategy for the business that's going to free us from this. We just react. We're not steering any ship. We're just keeping it upright. A client described it amazingly yesterday, actually, to me from a TikTok video that she'd seen. She said, instead of being the thermostat, I'm the thermometer. By which she meant, instead of being the thing that can decide the direction, the temperature in the room, the thermostat, I set this, here is my intention, this is how this is going to work. She's the thermometer, reacting to all of the things that are going on in every second. So even if you wanted to change things, you haven't got a moment to figure that out. The next thing is boundaries. We're in that position, often we're saying yes to pretty much everything. All the new ideas in our own head, we're saying yes to them. Client requests, we're saying yes to. Staff problems, do you know what, I'll deal with that. Let me help you. I can fix that for you. Let me take that on for you. We've not built that muscle of saying no and setting those boundaries. And every yes just adds to this chunk of time that we don't actually have. And then there's money. So you're possibly the main earner. And actually, if you were to think about, well, if I take myself out and do less, well, the income's going to come down. Or on the flip side of that, if I bring somebody in to do some of the stuff that I'm doing, it's going to cost me more. So the numbers don't add up and I'm kind of trapped in this box because those numbers add up. I can't afford to delegate it. So I'll just sort of have to stay in this trap of doing everything. So we're in this loop of there's no boundaries, there's no time for strategic thinking, there's no money, there's no systems. I can't hire, I can't do everything. And we just go round and round and round. So this is why if you have worked with a business advisor or you've tried to work this out for yourself or you've listened to some podcasts, just getting some crap business advice that says, well, you just need to delegate more doesn't work. Because if you're trapped in that cycle, you can't see or feel a way out. You're not failing at delegating, you're actually trapped in a much bigger loop that's sort of all interconnected. So all I'm going to ask you to do for today, if you're in this position, is start with that first problem, the fear, and start with something that can counteract actually all of those things, which is the idea of calm. Before strategy, before delegation, before systems, you are currently running around like a headless chicken, crazy fool idiot, and it feels crap right now. We need to start with calm. So it's really simple, and everybody listening to this in this position can do this. What I want you to do is I want you to look at your calendar, and it doesn't matter where it is, the next 3-hour block that is available, you are going to block that out and you are going to create some space away from the chaos for you just to pause and to reflect and to slow things down. You're going to go somewhere that isn't your office, whatever works for you. It might be the woods, it could be a coffee shop, it could be a garden centre, it could be a museum. It doesn't matter where, just a space that is different from your everyday. And you're going to sit with just one question. What am I doing because only I can do it? And what am I doing just because I've always done it that way? A lot of the time, half of what you're doing doesn't actually need you if you're really honest about it. We're not thinking about fixing everything in one afternoon. We're just breaking that cycle of react for 3 hours just to give you a tiny bit of space to stop and to think and to try and look at it from the outside in, not from the inside out. You can't redesign something when you're trapped inside. That's it for today. If that has resonated at all, please leave a comment on the podcast. I am Ben. I'm an executive coach. I work with business owners who are trapped in their businesses or who are excited to grow their businesses but need a little help to do it. If you want to get in touch, you can find me at reflectiverebels.co.uk and on LinkedIn and Instagram.